The war began with a brazen and widespread attack on Iran. Hours after, the promised retaliation came with force.
Look, this is building, they destroyed everything.
Wave after wave as the two traded air attacks.
People are receiving alerts saying that another raid is underway. People have been told to take shelter.
For days, Israel was battered by missiles as its assault on Iran's nuclear sites continued.
So we've just got those sirens going off again and we can hear the interceptions happening above the hotel.
This is the second time that this has happened this evening.
Big bomb. Big boom. It appears that there have been at least 5 sites that have been impacted in the last hour or so.
And after almost 2 weeks, America joined the fight.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace.
2 days later, Iran attacks a US base in Qatar and a ceasefire deal is reached.
Attacking Iran was a bold move by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been facing an increasingly angry Israeli public, fatigued by conflict and failures over getting Israeli hostages out of Gaza. But there was overwhelming support for the Iran war, even as 28 Israelis were killed and thousands more lost their homes. So was Netanyahu's 12-day war enough to keep him atop his political throne?
So I see the disaster.
Where were you when the missile hit?
In the basement, in the shelter. The missile hit over there. So we are 150 meters from there. Okay, you must say we have been lucky.
Explain to people what has happened here.
You can see it. Word is not enough. When you're at war, you must pay the price for it.
Menachem Tao is one of the thousands of Israelis who are now homeless after an Iranian ballistic missile destroyed his family home. He's not the biggest fan of his Prime Minister.
Did you support Benjamin Netanyahu launching these attacks at Iran?
Of course, Benjamin Netanyahu needs always war. Otherwise, the coalition won't stay alive.
If Benjamin Netanyahu was here looking around your destroyed
He was
house,
up there.
Yeah, he came to this site where
with a group of photographers to see how he suffered. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What would you say to him if he was standing here in your living room?
Resign now. What an asshole.
Menachem's city of Bat Yam is a Netanyahu stronghold, so his opposition for this war is in the minority. Polling across the country shows a staggering 82% of Jewish Israelis backed Israel's ambush on Iran.
So there was quite a surprising cross-political majority support within the Jewish population. Even a majority of those who define themselves as left-wing thought it was the right thing for Israel to initiate this attack.
People here told us they felt Israel was taking this fight on for the good of the world and for their own security.
We will f*** the b****s. And after that, nobody will even think about starting even a small thing with Israel.
When it comes to the war on Iran, pretty much everyone agrees. You know, it is the head of the snake.
There's a general wisdom that Iran really is a very material and immediate threat to Israel's actual existence.
Over the course of this campaign, Benjamin Netanyahu's government said it had two goals: destroying Iran's nuclear facilities and its long-range missile capabilities. It's unclear how far Iran's nuclear ambitions have been delayed, with both sides claiming victory. Senior Israeli officials insist their attack was preemptive.
After the 7th of October, it is clear for almost all the Israelis that we should preempt. We should not let the enemy to build capabilities that might be used one day to distract Israel.
Benjamin Netanyahu has long been known here as Mr. Security, and in the last few years he's had successes, taking out the leaders of the Iranian-backed Hamas and Hezbollah. But attacking Iran was seen as his most daring strike. And as the death toll climbed in Israel and Iran, Netanyahu made rare public appearances at bomb sites in Tel Aviv and a hospital in the country's south to rally his people. And his backers praised his fortitude, denying the war was a political ploy to strengthen Bibi's popularity.
It's unfair criticism. He's a politician and he's taking political issues into account. The Prime Minister made a decision after Israel had been attacked by Hamas, by Hezbollah, by the Iranians.
Because of the widespread support for the Iran war, Benjamin Netanyahu loyalists were hoping his Likud party would also reap the political rewards. But politics is rarely that simple here in Israel. While his party has had a modest bump in the polls, it's likely he'd still lose power if an election were held today, even with the backing of the far right. And opponents of Netanyahu here say it's because of a few major reasons: the lingering security failures of the October 7 Hamas attacks and the remaining 50-odd hostages still held captive in Gaza. Since Israel's ceasefire with Hamas collapsed in March, Gaza has become even more unlivable.
لما الحرب قامت بين إيران وبين إسرائيل الكل الدنيا صارت تدور عليهم إحنا هانا سابونا ما حدش دور علينا.
As the world watched the 12 days of war between Israel and Iran, more than 800 Palestinians were killed in the Strip, many as they collected aid, like Aslam Zainin's son, Mohammed.
كنا قاعدين مع بعض السمع في مساعدات في طاحين والناس راح تجيب. فراح لبس وعيه وراح يجيب طحين عشان خاطر خواته عشان لقمة العيش والإشي غالي فيش طحين في البلد بالمرة. فلما نسمع فيه إنه طحين موجود وراحت الناس تجيب قال بدي راح أجيب عشان خاطر خواتي خاطر بروحه بحاله عشان خاطر خواته ويروح يجيب ليهن طحين.
Both Palestinians and Israelis want this war to end.
It's just days after the Iran ceasefire and already Israelis are back on the streets protesting against their government. The security failures of the October 7 Hamas attacks are not quickly forgotten here. And these people are angry that after almost 2 years of fighting in Gaza, there is still no ceasefire.
We are completely fed up from this war. We want our hostages back. There have been 631 days in captivity.
What do you feel towards the government at the moment, Benjamin Netanyahu, given the situation with Gaza and the hostages?
Furious. How do you say? Rage and sadness. I think they need to be here.
There is an enormous rift between the public, or the majority of the public, and the government. Rather, it's like a festering and bleeding wound every day that the hostages have not returned.
While normalcy returns to Israel and the fragile ceasefire with Iran holds, for now, will he use the success of one war to end another?
עלינו להשלים את המערכה נגד הציר האיראני, להכריע את החמאס, ולהביא לשחרור כל חטופינו.
The conflict with Iran may have been popular, but it may not have helped Netanyahu, King Bibi, Israel's longest-serving leader, keep his grip on power.